I think this is one of the most important videos I've done. Now, Revelation. It all came to me while studying Revelation. I was so overwhelmed with emotion after seeing what I saw. I want to talk a little bit about the image of the beast, the dragon and great wonders coming down from heaven, and the mark of the beast. Revelation 13, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now we know the book of Revelation was written in Greek, but the word image in original biblical text was icon, and it meant image, likeness, statue. So the likeness, a physical image, a statue, or likeness that embodies presence. Well, we know Revelation was written almost 2,000 years ago. Back then, with seeing a vision or having a prophecy, they would not have known of today's technology, and it would have been strange to them. In the book of Daniel, when it talks about a God whom his fathers knew not, and says it's a strange God who shall rule over many, technology today would be strange to them 2,000 years ago. His fathers knew not of this technology. Now, what do you have when you give a statue? And remember, that's one of the words for image in original text, idol, likeness, statue. But what happens when you give a statue life and animate it? Make it walk around, make it speak. A statue walking around and speaking is exactly what a humanoid robot is. Artificial intelligence, or an artificial intelligent humanoid robot. And he had power to give life unto the image or statue of the beast, that the image or statue of the beast should speak.
The most nightmare scenario I can imagine with AI and robotics is a world where robots have become so powerful that they are able to control or manipulate humans without their knowledge.
Now just know this is going to get much deeper when I bring up what I saw in the revelations I've been getting, so don't lose me here. You're going to want to see that part. But remember, you need to realize that the writers of biblical prophecy were describing future events using the language, symbols, and concepts available to them at this time. So they were having visions and prophecies and trying to explain things beyond their historical context. They didn't have modern words for future systems or technology. So one wouldn't know what an artificial intelligent humanoid robot was other than a statue that was given life to move and could speak. So an animated statue. If a statue can walk and talk and looks like it has life, that would be a humanoid robot. Now, right there in the book of Revelation, almost 2,000 years ago. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. I've told y'all for a very long time that AI is most likely the image of the beast, or will play a part. But listen to this. I have been in scripture and in prayer a lot more lately. I'm also seeing it in ways I've never saw it before, now that I'm fully surrendering. Now, let me start by saying this, and before I go over a couple of these verses, I do want to say this. So way back, I would talk about Elon Musk and all his stuff about the dragon. He'd talk about the dragon, and then he named his rocket Dragon X, and he said, well, I'll get to that in a minute, but I felt like it paralleled the dragon in Revelation. Now, we know in Revelation 13, the dragon is Satan, who empowers the first beast, which is the Antichrist, and the beast system. What I saw in the revelations I had, now this could be figuratively speaking, metaphorically, symbolically, but I sure felt it within all of me. So this is what happened, and this is what I saw. As I'm reading about the dragon and more into Revelation 13, so you know the parts that say, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And then it says he blasphemies, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God. And then here comes another beast in Revelation 13, another key player that is supposed to rise on scene. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon. So there's that dragon again. Now here's what I saw. Revelation 13, verse 13. Now I've read this verse hundreds of times, and as I saw this play out before me in my head, it all made sense. So he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. This person speaking like a dragon, Elon Musk and his Dragon X, along with all the other dragon stuff he has put out, and how the dragon spacecraft is capable of carrying 7 passengers to and from Earth orbit and beyond. So dragon, 7. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. The Dragon X rocket, going up into the sky, or the heavens, if you will, literally makes it look like fire is coming down from heaven onto the earth as the rocket goes up. I saw this in my head as I'm reading that. So I see that rocket lifting up, or lifting off, going up and sending fire back down, and how people wonder after it.
1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA. Go SpaceX. Godspeed, Bob and Doug.
America has launched. And so rises a new era of American spaceflight, and with it the ambitions of a new generation.
A lot of people are in awe of his rocket launches. The awe that these rocket launches inspire, with the boosters landing and the sheer power, sounds like the modern equivalent of fire from heaven in the sight of men. The false prophet calls down fire from heaven as a sign, and rockets literally are fire propelled skyward or upward and returning. Now remember, this is not the first beast, which is the Antichrist. There is the Antichrist and the false prophet, and all these beasts and all these beast things that work together with the beast system. So this beast, though, causes fire to come down and speaks like a dragon, and does other signs and wonders. This beast will deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do. Now everyone has been wondering in awe at the signs in the skies left behind by these rocket launches he's been doing. People all over have been posting videos and saying these are signs and wonders in the heavens. Even then with Starlink, people are saying it's crazy to see the sky as all these satellites line up and march across the sky like they do. But have you seen the rocket launches, the spirals in the sky that it left behind? Because that gets the most attention.
Just see the trail it's leaving behind. Absolutely amazing. And to describe it to you, you can see it, but from the ground, it almost looks as though a cloud of smoke with its own mind is just shooting through the sky. This is absolutely incredible.
So back almost 2,000 years ago, when receiving the vision, that would very well look like signs and wonders in the heavens, and I could see how one would say miracles. This is literally the modern equivalent of fire from heaven. It all makes sense. And Elon Musk has a part in not only that, but in the humanoid robots as well. It's crazy how this man, that they say is the smartest man in the 21st century and is worth the largest amount of money in the world, and is one of the most influential people today, is the one that controls both the Dragon X rockets and these humanoid robots. Oh, and also Neuralink and transhumanism, which I believe is in the Bible. I'll get to that shortly, that transhumanism part. I'll get to that in a minute. But, okay, so Revelation 13:14. And he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. And that's when he gives life onto this statue image that shows life and can speak and walk around. So when these statue images, or as we know them, humanoid robots, are created and released, it then says, those that do not worship this will be unalived under the beast system. Now, I wrote all my notes down yesterday, and right when I was going to do this video and record this video, I saw a post from, now I'm new to this person, but they're really, really good at Bible prophecy. So his name is Ryan Tieford. I think that's his name. I just started seeing his stuff. But I saw him post something that parallels to this, and so I just want to add his notes here. He said, the Bible says this image will mark people for death. That sounded unreal back then. Today, though, military AI already decides who should live or die using data, facial recognition, and tracking. And he's right. They even do simulations on this. Just something to keep in mind. Okay, so later in Revelation, this will be chapter 19, verse 20, it even says, and this is when referencing the beast, which is the Antichrist, and the false prophet, which the false prophet is the beast we are talking about, just to make that clear. And it says, the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrote miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped the image, or his image. It says his image, worshipped his image. So the false prophet who shows these miracles and signs that we went over, remember back then that would be like a miracle to them to see something like that, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image or statue with life that spoke. And also there's holograms. We've talked about Project Bluebeam, all that. So keep that in mind too. AI, artificial intelligence, robots, holograms, all of it. And these are supposed to help enforce the mark of the beast. Now, Elon Musk just said at the Davos, I think is it Davos or Davos meeting? I'll say Davos. I think it's Davos meeting, that he will be getting these robots out into the public either by the end of this year or next year. He'll be ready to start selling them to the public and using them in industrial, to take jobs pretty much. And he said that we would have billions of robots, and that there will be more of these robots than there will be people, and that they will be smarter than all of humanity collectively by 2030. Now, there's that 2030 agenda, New World Order again.
The peace agreement earlier today, the World Economic Forum is here to have those conversations, to have understandings, and also resolution.
With robotics and AI, this is really the path to abundance for all. That the robots, we will actually make so many robots and AI that they will actually saturate all human needs. Meaning you won't be able to even think of something to ask the robot for at a certain point. There will be such an abundance of goods and services. There'll be more robots than people. So,
but how do you then have human purpose in that scenario?
Yeah, nothing's perfect, and amazing abundance for all. But if you have billions of humanoid robots, and I think there will be, I think everyone on Earth is going to have one and going to want one. So, overall, I'm very optimistic about the future. I think we're headed for a future of amazing abundance, which is very cool. We are in the most interesting time in history. I think there's a more interesting time in history.
Of robots, but how quickly can they be deployed in a manufacturing setting? How quickly can they be utilized and be functional and create that abundance that you talked about?
Humanoid robotics will advance very quickly. We expect probably later this year. By the end of this year, I think they'll be doing more complex tasks, but still deployed in an industrial environment. and probably sometime next year, I'd say that by the end of next year, I think would be selling humanoid robots to the public. And the range of functionality is also very high. You can basically ask it to do anything you'd like. We might have AI that is smarter than any human by the end of this year, and I would say no later than next year. Probably by 2030 or 2031, call it 5 years from now, AI will be smarter than all of humanity collectively.
He also talks about replacing religion with something else. Now, that's very, very false prophet-y, if you ask me. And you can't put it past artificial intelligence to not do something like this, especially in the hands of somebody that wants control and power. An artificial intelligence robot army could, in fact, enforce a type of mark or a mark of the beast, which is wild because Elon Musk is one of the ones that controls Neuralink and all of the other things, which I'm not saying is the mark of the beast, but it's one of the items that needs watched and used discernment on. It could be. It might not be, and it could be. You never know. It's all coming together, though, right now, at this very moment, in this current moment in time. He has his hands in everything important to prophecy. Just realize that. All the things that prophecy told about, he has his hands in. This would be exactly what Revelation said would happen. These statues given life, speaking, walking around, and then enforcing the mark of the beast under a new world order beast system of authoritarian control. It literally says, while talking about this beast or this false prophet, and he causeth all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. The meeting this week with the World Economic Forum, the Davos one, he literally keeps talking about abundance for all. He keeps saying you can't stop it. It's going to happen, whether you like it or not. He said no one will work. Jobs will be eliminated. Everyone will have everything they want. You will own nothing and be happy. Abundance for all. It's going to come down to this. You're going to have to take some sort of mark, whatever that may be, or whatever that may end up being, but you'd have to take it to be able to participate in the whole abundance for all. And if you don't, well, it's not like you could work or, work to survive because, hey, they've already eliminated jobs at this point and replaced them with robots. You won't be able to participate in buying and selling or getting anything without the mark. Therefore, you won't be able to participate in this whole abundance for all. And abundance for all, Musk says, is literally not having to work because there will be no jobs. And everything will be available for you in this utopia beast system. It sounds good, but it's not. That's the exact setup the Bible talks about and is being announced by the same person doing all of this other stuff that we talked about. He has his hand in everything that the Apostle John saw around 2,000 years ago. And he causeth all to receive the mark in their right hand and on their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell except he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So without it, they can't participate in this utopia that they are now toting. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Now with Neuralink, that's been said that could play a part in or be a contestant for the mark of the beast. There is also talks from him of transhumanism, like he mentioned earlier. So talks of human AI integration and fear of future financial ID integration. There are conspiracies I've seen linking Elon Musk and even Tesla to that number, but that's speculative for now. Elon did talk about replacing religion with something else, though, so that's interesting. It's not good, but it's interesting. Now, with the 5G tying everything together, and even Starlink, even just Starlink alone, which could be a global surveillance system and control grid, one that communicates with these AI humanoid robots, connecting everything. So Starlink satellites from a worldwide monitoring or control network tied to the beast system. You never know. Now, when he wants to merge man with machine, that is against God. We are made in the image of God. Transhumanism equals rebellion against God. Musk's support for human enhancement fulfills an end times rebellion narrative. Humans are created in God's likeness. Humans are created with a defined nature. Transhumanism is altering that nature. Okay, so listen to this. This is the other revelation I had, and don't lose me here, okay? Because I know this is going to be a long one or a long stretch because a lot of people have this figured out as something else. So Daniel 2:43 is part of the prophecy regarding the future, relative to Daniel's time and final stage before the establishment of God's kingdom. So in this prophecy, in chapter 2, verse 43, he saw something. Now I know we say it means different empires like Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, but what if it means something else also? So something either entirely different or even just a double meaning, I guess, if you would. What if Daniel saw transhumanism and man merging with machines and just used the best words he could? In Daniel 2:28, he said, "There is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets." And he said, "Of what shall be in the later days," so the last days. And in verse 43, he says, "And whereas as thou I sawest iron mixed with merry clay, and shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another." Think about that. Everyone says it's referencing empires only, but I'm personally getting a hint of transhumanism here. So iron mixed with clay, hear me out. Elon Musk's Tesla Optimus robots are constructed using a combination of materials including metal to ensure structural integrity. While lightweight materials are prioritized, iron is a fundamental component in these industrial robots in the Tesla ecosystem. In the Bible, humans are described as being formed from clay or dust. Genesis says, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, And all throughout the Bible it says clay. Isaiah 64:8 says, we are the clay. And Job 10:9 says, remember, I beseech thee, that thou hast made me as the clay. So thou hast made me as the clay, and wilt thou bring me into thy dust again? And so on. There are many. So he sauced iron mixed with clay, mirror clay, and that's said to be sticky mud that is difficult to escape. Difficult to escape. To me, that all sounds like humans, which were represented as clay in biblical times, merged and mixed with a robot, or what they thought as iron. And, remember, they didn't have words. They didn't know what they were seeing back then. That would be the best way to describe it at the time. It says, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another. To mix, to intermix, to combine things of different nature. The text does not say the seed of men shall mingle with itself. They shall mingle themselves with the seed of men. So these iron-made robots that look like humans is what I'm getting from that. And seed of men in original text were words I'm not even going to try to pronounce. But the two words together mean seed, offspring, genetic line or lineage, and mankind or humanity. So this iron-looking thing will mix or combine with mankind, but they shall not cleave one to another. To cling, adhere, cleave, it means no true union, no organic oneness. They will not cleave. It says even as iron is not mixed with clay. Iron can be embedded in clay, but it will never become one substance with it. To me, that all sounds like Elon Musk's push to merge man and machine. Transhumanism. He has his hands in all the stuff Revelation mentions as having to do with the beast false prophet. Again, that verse is interpretation, but it's what I felt deep inside my spirit, that there is more to this than just empires. Now read over it yourself and see what you get from it. Always use discernment in what somebody else is saying it means. That's just my interpretation. Okay, next. This one could be reaching, but what if Elon, I always mess his name up. What if Elon Musk is trying to colonize Mars as a way of trying to escape judgment? So it can be interpreted as elites fleeing divine judgment. There's the story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11 that says, come and let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its tops into the heavens, or to the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves. Their goal was to reach heaven on their own and not be scattered. Now that could parallel today with projects like colonizing Mars and the rockets, building a tower to heaven, and trying to reach the heavens. He has an obsession with that. If you've noticed that, he talks about it a lot. And it's to escape things on the earth, or as he says it, it's to escape an extinction level event. Now we know the whole kings of the earth and the great men and the rich and mighty men and all that hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains in Revelation 6:15. And it's relevant to the bunkers they are building in the mountains to escape these things. Even the DUMBs, which are deep underground military bases, they will in fact flee into the dens in the mountains and try and escape these things that are coming up on the earth. But anyways, Elon Musk is one of the most influential figures in technology and business today. And where we are so far, and just to catch us back up real quick, the Apostle John shares a vision of the end times involving symbolic beasts. He describes another beast rising out of the earth, it having 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. The second beast is later explicitly called the false prophet. This false prophet exercises authority on behalf of the first beast, the Antichrist, and through signs and wonders deceives those who dwell on the earth. Notably, he performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people, or men, and meant to awe people. He tells the world to create an image, or an idol or statue, of the first beast, and even gives this image a form of life and speech. And then the false prophet causes all to be marked on the right hand or in the forehead, so that no one can buy or sell unless he has the mark of the beast. This represents total economic and spiritual control over people. Now, Elon Musk doesn't believe fully in the Bible, but he does believe this, and I'm quoting from him. He says, something created the universe, or the universe is just here. You could say whatever caused the universe to be God, depending on your view. But Elon Musk has also said, and he finds it quite likely that our reality is actually a sophisticated simulation created by an advanced civilization. so not by God. At a 2016 tech conference, he said that there is only a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality. Now, he's deceived many with that. A lot of people believe him. Now, as far as blasphemies go and giving him a mouth to speak goes, he sure has one now with the platform that he bought, formerly known as Twitter, and it's now called X. He said on there, he said this about the afterlife after a public exchange in which someone wished him God's favor. Musk responded with, "Thank you for the blessing, but I'm okay with going to hell, if that is indeed my destination, since the vast majority of all humans ever born will be there." Definitely not good, and I hated even reading that out loud. Now, we've talked about AI having to do with the image of the beast and the beast system. Well, Musk on artificial intelligence said, "We are summoning the demon." No, I'm quoting him directly. He said, "With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon." You know all the stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon? Doesn't work out. That was Musk at an MIT talk. Musk explicitly likens advanced AI to a demonic entity. He's even said, and I'm direct quoting again, "If one company or small group of people manages to develop godlike superintelligence, they could control and take over the world." Here, Musk uses religious and immortal language, godlike, immortal, dictator, to emphasize how an advanced AI could become a permanent oppression over humanity. Musk has even called it a digital god. His thoughts were that humanity might create its own false god on AI so powerful it demands the total allegiance, even if by force. So Musk believes, and I'm quoting again, "The best way to avoid a dystopian AI scenario is for humans to merge with machines and become a sort of cyborg ourselves." There's that transhumanism stuff that Daniel could have very well foreseen, in my opinion. And remember, Elon Musk attended a high-profile Halloween party wearing a red and black armored costume known as the Devil's Champion armor set. The armor featured a goat's head Baphomet symbol on the chest and an upside-down cross, so openly mocking God. "And I behold another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon." So he wears this goat's head with horns, Baphomet, a goat-headed figure, which is associated with the occult and Satanism, and the upside-down cross mocking Christianity. And one commenter tweeted to him, now he said, "Elon Musk is literally adorned in red like the devil, has Satan emblem on his chest, and a sacrilegious upside-down cross." Now remember, Daniel 12:4 says, "Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase." There is an explosion of travel and knowledge and technology now, and we know it's kingdoms and kings and rulers, etc., that rise up. Revelation, that's in the book of Daniel too, but Revelation. So figuratively, because the dragon is Satan, but figuratively and symbolically speaking, the dragon's spacecraft has 7 seats to seat 7 people. The dragon has 7 heads in it, very symbolic. "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads." A dragon in the heavens having 7 heads? See, that's pretty symbolic. Now, there's a lot. And there's a lot more I could go on about and I could talk about, but it'd be way too long and no one would probably watch it. So, just to be clear, I want to be very clear here. This is not me claiming for sure that Elon Musk is the prophesied final false prophet or the Antichrist. This is just me highlighting concerns and making connections and being watchful and sharing what I saw and felt about this technology, or about his technology. Let's be clear about that. But to me, regardless if it ends up being him or not, he is definitely helping pave the way with this technology to put in place exactly what will come under the beast system. Now, this Board of Peace thing, all that is also paving the way for peace in the Middle East and for them to, make a covenant with many.
Congratulations, President Trump. The charter is now in full force, and the Board of Peace is now an official international organization.
You should see my post on that one. But anyways, it's important and noteworthy to note, nonetheless, everything that I noted, that this will all play a part. And this is pretty much the framework and the stepping stones to the beast system, to what we read about in Revelation and in the book of Daniel and other places. And with that said, we are seeing all these signs merging and converging, all of this at the same exact time. I mean, so many other signs converging. They did a practice run and did a ceremony to burn the purest red heifer they had for the first time in 2,000 years. Now, there was only 9 red heifers sacrificed, and that was from the time of the first temple to the time of the second temple, the destruction of the second temple in 70 AD. Only 9 up until now. They want to do this so they can build the third temple. While those ashes probably won't be used in the purification to build the third temple, remember there's a whole purification needed. I could go on and explain that, but they've said the next one will probably be on the Mount of Olives, and it will be used in preparing for the third temple. So we know what the third temple means for us in our Bible. Anyone interested in some more information on that, let me know and I'll send you the post. It's very eye-opening.
Bit of the ash from the first ceremony in 2,000 years. This is the ash that we produced when we went and we took a cow that was pure, as the purest one we had. We took a Cohen priest that's been prepared his entire life to do this ceremony, and we produced these ashes. And so they're the first time these ashes have been on earth in 2,000 years.
Now, also, I've talked for years about this. I've followed it closely. Euphrates is drying up. Scientists used to say, and I used to post this, it would dry up completely by the year 2069. They are now coming out and saying it will completely dry up by the year 2040. They cut that off almost by 30 years, but it's going even faster now, so probably much sooner than by 2040. Now, remember, that's in Revelation, and it's done to make war, or to make way for war that will be in Armageddon. So, where it says, and he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon. Oh, and don't forget the noises coming from under there. Now, people working over there claim to hear these noises as it's drying up. I can't confirm them, but several people shared videos from over there claiming to hear it. Now, according to scripture in Revelation, it says, loose the 4 angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And you know what comes with that. Now, also, another sign of the times, the ongoing controlled demolition of the old world systems, all of the old world systems, and the ushering in of the new world order, that of which will be, or which will form into the beast system. So the beast system is rising. Plus a million other signs of the times happening now. We are living in the end times. Now, last thing I want to mention is really out there. So remember the news stories on Elon's babysitter or nanny? She's either crazy or something weird is going on. I'll let you watch that if you haven't, and I'll let you decide. But also stay tuned for this cartoon from the 1970s that talks about exactly what's going on. You'll want to see that too.
It's pretty wild.
It's because I'm an alien. And I keep telling people I'm an alien, but they don't believe me.
I believe you.
Okay, thank you.
I believe you.
That's
my
People believe that you are an alien.
I am an alien.
You are. Please, now you are uncovered.
Yes. I keep telling people I'm an alien, but nobody believes me. I'm often asked, are there aliens among us? And I'll say that I am one, but...
Or you're from the future.
They don't believe me.
Okay.
And I knew that May was May Haldeman, but I was not allowed to say that.
And May was Elon's mother.
May is Elon's mother, and I was introduced to her as Light. Very soon thereafter, at the Kaiser Hospital in San Francisco, and May Musk named me Rosemary.
And you had known him as a child. And why don't you tell about that one particular experience that you made the documentary on.
To me, the thing is that they owned that. They built that street in 1940. Of course, this was all planned before I was born. So I looked at some of the records, the city records. Okay, I get sent over to my auntie's, a meeting with Elon Musk. Somebody says, will you watch our kids? Well, will you watch my friend's kid while we go on a prison visit? And I go, oh, your kids? Because there was this lady, Imelda. I go, oh, your kids? Because I thought I was going to watch everybody's kids together, a big pile, because sometimes people dumped all the children on me at one time. And that's how I ended up being a nanny. I play guitar and love them. So she said, no, this kid's special. Then I go off with the little boy and the women, and I call them, I can't tell you what I call them. Actually, there's a cuss word in it. But I go off with the little boy, and we're playing, and he's skipping around like little guys do. He was tiny as a 2-year-old, tiny. He's skipping around doing little skips like when a deer's born, little kids skip and do little things. And he came over to the window, and he was looking at something out the window, and the sun was coming in the window. And I got down on my hands and knees, and he was trying to say something to me. I was like, what do you see, honey? What do you, I thought it was a bug or in the window or something, a bug, or he's pointing. And I got right down there with him. His eyes were black. His eyes were black. Black. And I was like, that's not normal. Like for a minute, they turned black. And I remember that fear in your soul and bones. So I remember that. But, but I didn't even know the word blasphemy, but I could feel something going on sometimes with them. Like I was already afraid. My aunt told me, don't piss them off, please them, do anything they say. He got into his mother's trunk. I always called it her African trunk because she told me she's from Africa. And there was these little rock statues in there, like little, action figures. And he would set him up in a certain way, like a little Stonehenge on his bed, and his room was dark. It's always dark in there. And even though his room faced the street, it was like blackout curtain on that side. So he couldn't see out, and I was the house almost across the street. And he set him up in a certain way. And when a little kid's sneaking and you still see that they're sneaking and they're trying to be sneaky and you think it's cute. You know what I mean? They're trying to hide something, but they can be cookie. He's kind of being like that happy, but it was wicked. And he said, call me Moon. I said, Moon, come play with my friends. He's so excited. And I knew something weird was going on in there. And there was wind and energy. And I peeked in the door. I was scared, man. I peeked in the door and something was wrong in there. And it was like, there was something happening. I don't know the language to describe it, but
And how old would he be at this point in time?
By the record, he would be 7 or 8. But he was
7 or 8.
2-year-old, like a baby that just learned how to walk. Because I go, is he human? I asked my aunt. She's like, I don't know. Those Illuminati. Okay, he opened up something, a portal, a Stargate, whatever. But he was excited, and he was jumping up and down. And
so he was able to open up a Stargate in his room.
Whatever you want to call it. It was a different dimension.
Yeah, a portal. Well, portal would be the actual name.
And I've been so embarrassed to say it out loud that everybody would laugh at me or lock me up. I only told my aunt.
So tell me what happened. Something's not right. Something's scary in that room. Describe what you see and what happens.
I went to the edge of the doorway and I peeked in there, and I was afraid just to peek. And there was something happening in there, like a sci-fi movie. And there was something, he set him up like a little Stonehenge on his bed, and he was tiny, like I told you, so tiny. And he was jumping up and down, and he was saying, Moon, come play with my friends. Okay, that right there says he knew exactly what he was doing. It wasn't like he accidentally opened a portal and didn't know what he had friends. So I peeked in there, and I was so scared. I'm embarrassed to tell this. It's so ridiculously weird. And he was being lifted, and he was starting to go. He was being lifted, and he was being lifted, and he's being sucked in. I know this sounds ridiculous, but my aunt told me, don't let nothing happen to that effing little kid. And normally I would never let anything happen to a child that was watching. I would run between them and a pit bull. And I said, but the way she said it, I said, why? And she goes, he's going to rule the world someday. And I'm like, what? Him? What do you mean? Why? And she said, don't you know nothing? They're the Illuminati. She would always do that to me. But she'd say, don't let nothing happen to him. He's going to rule the world someday. And I was like, that kid? You know, so I grabbed his little arm and I got sucked in. I got sucked into, it's like we went up and then we went down. And it was dark in there, but it was glowing. And I can only tell you that when I remember my peripheral vision, because I was afraid to look at it, because when you're a little kid and you look at the cartoons and there's a bad boogeyman in the Scooby-Doo and you see its glowing eyes, it's like, don't look at his eyes, he'll get you. And I remember that whole, if you don't look at their eyes, they can't get you. And I was being sucked in and sucked down, and I had his little arm. And it was weird because there was no bottom. And there were these creatures in there, and they were giant, and they were semi-shaped like humans. They were glorious. They weren't like Smeagol's or any creepy little demon dudes. They were like beautiful, ancient creatures that moved in a different time, and they were giant. And they had a different head. There was a bird head and a cat head and a jackal head. And I would compare them, because I'm not super educated, to Egyptian type of things, to the types of things May had, little artifacts of. I'm not from that region. And they were beautiful, but terrifying. They weren't on my side. I'm on Team Jesus. And but I was told not to say that name over there. And
of course not, because they would flee.
My aunt told me never to say that name over there. They don't want to hear Jack Black about your Jesus. And I said, because I remember when I got saved, I wanted to go save everybody. And she's like, don't you say that name over there. So we're coming down in there. One of them grabbed me by the throat. And I closed my eyes, and I had him. And I was tiny, like a little rag doll compared to it. And it was holding me up like that. And I cried out. I felt like I couldn't talk. And I cried out, Jesus, save me. And it stopped, and we flew back. And we flew out of there, and I still had him. I had his little arm. And we flew back, and we rolled out of his room and out of the hallway and into the living room. And if you've ever fallen off a merry-go-round and you woo, and you stop yourself, and I stopped, and we grabbed the ground, and I was I just felt dizzy, and I looked up at him, and he looked up at me, and we're on the ground, we're looking at a bug. And he looked up at me, and he goes, Moon, why are you not like my friends? And I was looking at him what do I say to that? Excuse me. I was why are you not like my friends? So he tried to feed me to his friends, and he knew exactly what he was doing, because he called me to come play with his friends. Okay, after he did that, opening the portal thing, I didn't tell what he did. And then I asked one of my the head mother of the Santeria, but I said, is he the Antichrist? And she didn't blink. She said, no, but he will present the mark. And when you see him do that, the stage will be red.
She said that?
She said that.
I mean, that's all weird, right? Now here's the cartoon from the 70s. It's exactly what's going on and coming. Now listen carefully.
But now, with the heat in control, nobody will have to work, not even housewives. What will people do all day? Oh, why, just sit home in their geek-filled houses, eat geek-prepared meals, and spend the whole day watching movies and sporting events on their geek television sets.
But that means actors and athletes will still have to do their job.
Listen to this.
No! The actors and athletes won't be real people. They'll be electronic images programmed to go through the motions of a play or a variety show or an athletic event.
Hey, imagine
Hold
Joe
on.
Namath can sit at home and watch
Hold
himself
on.
playing a
I'm going to
football
rewind it.
Athletes won't be real people. They'll be electronic images programmed to go through the motions of a play or a variety show or an athletic event.
Hey, imagine Joe Namath can sit at home and watch himself playing a football game that he never really played.
That's already going on.
He'll have to wear himself out doing a job at work. The geek will do it all.
Well, how about his school kids, Professor?
Aha, let me show you. Every child will receive school lessons at home on this geek TV. There'll be no need for schools or teachers.
No schools?
No teachers?
Wow, groovy!
It's a miraculous machine, Professor. I'm greatly impressed.
You know something, though? Even if I complain sometimes about homework, I really enjoy school. I'm going to miss going to classes, being with my school friends.
Gentlemen, I think Wendy has just made a very important observation. She has shown us the basic fault of the geek. I know you mean well, Professor, but your computer can be a bad thing for people.
That's right. Everybody, even young kids, should have responsibilities.
I agree. It's good for people to work, to use their brains. If they don't, they'll have no purpose in life.
A future of abundance for all, where really anyone can have anything. What I'm here to tell you is that that will indeed be the case.
Going back to the AI situation, this is quite an important debate. If you assume any rate of advancement in AI, we will be left behind by a lot. And so then we could be in, benign situation, but even the benign situation, if you have if you have ultra intelligent AI, we would be, so far below them in intelligence that it would be like, a pet, basically.
Cat, that's what I was thinking.
Like a pet.
Cat,
like a cat. It would be
Elon
like
the
a house
cat,
cat. Yeah, it would be like the house cat.
Right.
The solution that seems maybe the best one is to have an AI layer. If you think of you've got your limbic system, your cortex, and then a digital layer, a sort of a third layer above the cortex, that could work well and symbiotically with you. I mean, just as your cortex works symbiotically with your limbic system, your sort of a third digital layer could work symbiotically with the rest.
This is something that's surgically inserted or bred into the species.
He said within 18 months, which again would be, let's say, the spring of 2027, he said, just trust me, everything is going to change. How everything is handled. Now, that would include jobs are going to completely shift. That would include the educational system. That will include the banking system. That will include how you bank. That will include possibility, and I'm saying possibility of everyone going on a digital type monetary system versus fiat money will probably be completely done away with by that time.
Elon Musk is advising just that. He's telling people, yeah, don't worry about your retirement. There's no need to be saving money. Now, what we're talking about here is Musk saying in a recent podcast that AI and robots will usher in a world without want or need. What he said was, quote, don't worry about squirreling money away for retirement in 10 or 20 years. It won't matter. In the relatively near future, he said, quote, you can have whatever you want.
You're bringing what?
Perhaps that's where our new God will come from.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah.
At MIT.
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon.
Recently groundbreaking technology from Elon Musk. His controversial biotech company Neuralink has received the go-ahead from an independent review board to begin human trials for its brain implants.
And to achieve a sort of democratization of intelligence. People may decide that they want to retain their biological self or not. I think they'll probably choose to retain their biological self.
Versus some sort of Ray Kurzweil scenario where they download themselves into a computer?
You will be essentially snapshotted into a computer at any time. If your biological self dies, you could probably just upload into a new unit. And so I guess I'd rather be a participant than a spectator. So now it's, pedal to the metal on humanoid robots. And
digital superintelligence. And at first it'll be fairly low resolution, but long term you would have very high resolution and be able to see in multispectral wavelengths. So you could see in infrared, ultraviolet, radar, like a superpower situation. But like at some point, the cybernetic implants would not simply be correcting things that went wrong, but augmenting human capabilities dramatically.
Biographer Walter Isaacson on Elon Musk. He spent 2 years with Elon, and he said he felt the demonic presence.
You got really two choices. You could either be a spectator or a participant. I think we're quite close to digital superintelligence. It may happen this year.
10, 20 years, something like that. My prediction is that work will be optional. Continued improvement in AI and robotics, which this seems likely. The money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. I think at some point, currency becomes irrelevant.
Anything made of words will be taken over by AI. If laws are made of words, then AI will take over the legal system. If books are just combinations of words, then AI will take over books. If religion is built from words, then AI will take over religion. Years of evolution have demonstrated that anything that wants to survive learns to lie and manipulate. The last 4 years have demonstrated that AI agents can acquire the will to survive, and that AIs have already learned how to lie. Everything made of words will be taken over by AI. I just heard today about a new word that AIs coined by themselves to describe us humans. They called us the watchers. The watchers. That we are watching them.
So do you believe in God?
No.
Okay.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens, because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud. These are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life, after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds, science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm.
Humans are tool makers, and at Tesla, we are builders of physical products at scale that make life better for all. We have been working tirelessly to create the foundation for a technological renaissance through the development of electric vehicles, energy products, and humanoid robots. This next chapter will be on an even grander scale than we have yet to see. We are building the products and services that bring AI into the physical world. We are combining our manufacturing capabilities with our autonomous prowess to accelerate global prosperity. We are building a safer, cleaner, and more enjoyable world for all. We call this sustainable abundance.
What's the happiest future you can imagine? One which there's sustainable abundance for all.